Happy World Breastfeeding Week. Yes, it has been the Breastfeeding Week, and that shall be the subject of our conversation on our new segment, Her Say Tonight. And I shall be joined by my guests who are already with me in studio, Wangeshi Kihara, a lactation expert, and Chebet Birir. She is a mother and a mental health advocate. That is one conversation you certainly do not want to miss, and it's coming up your way shortly. But first, let's take a look at the day's stories.
7 human rights groups moved to court seeking to block the implementation of the Finance Act ahead of a ruling on the same on Monday. The Azimio Brigade now gives the government a 30-day ultimatum to hold talks, failure to which they will be going back to the streets.
Baada ya siku 30 kama jamaa bado wamekaa ngumu, tutatoa amri nyingine.
President William Ruto rules out power sharing with Azimio leader Raila Odinga, saying no amount of threat or intimidation will coerce him into a handshake like the previous regimes.
Na tumewaambia ile vitisho walikuwa naye ati ndio wapate serikali nusu mkate haitafanyika tena.
And being World Breastfeeding Week, we discuss breastfeeding on Her Say Tonight, questioning just why Kenya still lags behind.
Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that conversation I just mentioned on breastfeeding? We invite you to send in your feedback, to send in your questions and your concerns. You can actually call in live at 0768 095 491. That's our number, 0768 095 491. You can record yourself and send your questions and concerns on our WhatsApp line, 0793 267 279. That is 0793 267 279. And as always, your feedback on our social media handles at TV47 News on Twitter, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and my Twitter handle is at Grace Kuria KE. My name is Grace Kuria Kanja, and my sign language interpreter tonight is Catherine Simaloy. Once again, welcome. Now, the fate of the Finance Act 2023 remains in limbo as 7 lobby groups move to court to challenge the implementation of the act, which they say is in violation of various provisions in the Constitution. Elizabeth Atieno now reports.
And groups opposing the Finance Act continues to grow longer. The Kenya Human Rights Commission, Katiba Institute, the Institute of Social Justice, Transparency International, and 4 others being the latest to move to court, seeking to block the implementation of the Finance Act of 2023, which has raised mixed reactions among Kenyans from all walks of life. In their petition, the 7 petitioners argue that the Finance Act violates Articles 10 and 201 of the Constitution by imposing excessive taxations likely to burden low and middle income earners, which threatens their rights to life and livelihood under Articles 26 and 43 of the Constitution. On the 28th of July 2023, the Court of Appeal gave a green light for the implementation of the Finance Act, lifting the High Court freeze order arrived at after petitioner Okia Omtata and 4 others moved to court in June to challenge the implementation. Some of the highly contested provisions in the Act include Section 5 of the Income Tax Act, Section 31B of the Employment Act, which has since been amended to create a mandatory affordable housing fund, and Section 47 and 84 of the Finance Act of 2023, which have led to the amendment of Excise Duty Act of 2015. The new petitions filed come just a day after the Law Society of Kenya moved to court to challenge the Finance Act of 2023, further wanting the act to be declared illegal and null. A 3-judge bench led by Justice David Majanja, alongside Justices Christine Meoli and Lawrence Mugambi, are expected to give directions into the cases filed challenging the Finance Act of 2023. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth Atieno, for that. Now, anti-handshake sentiments, politics and development were the order of the day all along the various stops as the president began his 5-day tour of the Mount Kenya region. Victor Moyakane with more from the trail.
The president's meet and greet tour of the greater Mount Kenya region started today with multiple roadside stops in Githurai, in Kano, in Kagio and in Karatina. All along, the key points revolved around development and national politics. The talk of a handshake, to be precise. The president commissioned water projects in Githurai, in Kiambu County, and Kagio in Nyeri, and a road in Nyeri as well. In other places, he had roadside rallies with anti-handshake sentiment taking center stage.
Na tumewaambia ile vitisho walikuwa naye ati ndio wapate serikali nusu mkate haitafanyika tena. Haiwezekani. Sijui kama tunaelewana. Na hawa watu nitawakalia ngumu.
Na rais hapa, watu hapa Mlima Kenya walikuchagua wewe na wakakupatia kura zao zote. Wamesema kwa kauli moja mambo ya handshake hawataki. Mumekataa handshake? Wangapi wanasema hakuna handshake, hakuna handshake, hakuna handshake?
Hamukuchagua rais ili ashughulike na mambo ya wale wapinzani. Kweli ama uongo? Hata kwa plani yake ya manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza hakuna kifungo ama chapter ambayo inasema kwamba rais amechaguliwa ili aende kupanga mambo ya upinzani.
Nataka nikuhakikishie venye watu wa Kiambu na Githurai wanasema mambo ya nusu mkate, mambo ya handshake, hiyo hata hiyo kitu wanaita inclusivity. Inclusivity is another name ya handshake. Na nimewaambia nikiongoza, mimi naenda hapo kuwaambia nusu mkate na handshake hakuna.
Rais, mimi nakushukuru kwa sababu you have refused to be distracted by the politics of maandamano. Rais wetu, you have focused.
Accompanied by his deputy, his prime cabinet secretary and a large section of his cabinet, the president cut a boisterous figure, joshing and cajoling a receptive crowd.
Kwani mtu ambaye anataka kuharibu biashara ya mwingine anapembelezwa? Bana.
Echoed by his deputy and retinue.
Mtu yeyote atajaribu kucheza na yeye, mimi na hao Kimani Chongwa, Dede Nyoro, huyu Kingara, tumekaa chonjo.
For 5 days, the head of state will launch projects and push his agenda, culminating in what promises to be a vital meeting with Mount Kenya leaders and stakeholders at the iconic Sagana State Lodge.
Now, the scene behind me is reminiscent of the campaign trail, where the president and his deputy, in their element, pounding the turf, pressing the flesh, reconnoitering and reconnecting with the people to shore up support for the big national agenda. Right here, the agenda is twofold. First, local politics development, and second, national politics, specifically the dialogue between the government and the opposition. And with that, political rhetoric abounds. The Ghana State Lodge is going to be the headquarters, it's going to be the scene of what promises to be a meeting like no other. Victor Moyakane, TV47, from Karatina in Nyeri County.
Thank you, Victor Moyakane there. Now, Azimio Coalition leader Raila Odinga has now issued a 30-day ultimatum to President William Ruto or face the return of street protests starting September. The Azimio leader, who was attending the burial of a victim of the protest in Siaya County, however, said Azimio is ready for talks. Raila's warning comes after President William Ruto told Azimio to forget a power-sharing deal.
With Kenya Kwanza and Azimio playing hide and seek on when exactly they should meet for dialogue, Azimio Coalition leader Raila Odinga has read the Riot Act to Kenya Kwanza, warning the government to expect street protests next month if talks are not concluded by the end of this month.
Sisi kama Azimio tuko tayari kuongea. Tutaongea. Na tumewapatia wale jamaa siku 30 kuongea. Baada ya siku 30 kama jamaa bado wamekaa ngumu, tutatoa amri nyingine. tutatoa amri nyingine, lakini tumetoa tume ambayo inaongozwa na Bwana Kalonzo Musyoka kuongea na wale kutoka ng'ambo hili nyingine, na tumesema tutaongea bila masharti. Wao vile vile tumesema usitoe masharti kwetu, lakini wasipokuwa tayari kuongea na kukubaliana na sisi vile sisi tunataka, tumesema baada ya siku 30 Wakenya wataanza kuchukua hatua tofauti tena.
Odinga's new ultimatum came during the burial of David Omondi, a victim of Azimio's deadly protest last month in Siaya. Azimio warning to take the matter to the international arena to seek justice.
We are going to sue these people who caused his death. And we are going to sue them everywhere. We'll sue them in Kenya, we'll sue them in Arusha, we'll sue them in
I want to say that things are not over yet. Do something quickly, otherwise we are in the streets one more time.
We want to tell them that come to those talks in good faith and come to them seriously. Because if you lack seriousness, we are prepared to go back.
President William Ruto, flanked by his allies in Githurai on Saturday, said there will be no power sharing in the anticipated talks, with his allies backing him up to stop what they termed as wasting time in the dialogue.
Unajua wamezoea tabia mbaya. Walilete kisirani kwa Moi wakapata kitu. Wakalete kisirani kwa Kibaki wakalete pata nusu mkate. Wakakuja wakalete kisirani kwa Uhuru wakapata handshake. Hapa hakuna handshake, hakuna nusu mkate, hakuna chochote. Ile kazi iko sasa sio ya viongozi tena, kazi iko ni tupange kazi ya hawa wananchi.
Watu wa Karatina, watu wa Nyeri, watu wa Mount Kenya, mnataka handshake.
The ping-pong game between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio kicked off this week, with a date for the talks becoming a back-and-forth affair. Azimio wants the talks to be held on Tuesday at the Serena Hotel, but Kenya Kwanza insists on an open public forum on Thursday to save money. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that. Now, 3 people have died while 1 has been rushed to hospital after a quarry they were working on collapsed on them at Kimuri area in Mwea East Sub-County in Kirinyaga County. Mwea East Sub-County Police Commander James Mutua confirmed the incident, saying police and residents tried to rescue the people stuck in the collapsed quarry, but only 1 life was rescued. He adds that investigations are underway as the bodies of the deceased are being preserved at the Kirinyaga Hospital mortuary. One of the people who lost their lives is a woman. The afternoon incident has led residents and workers to wonder what will happen to their source of livelihood.
Tunakuja kuifanya kazi juu ya mahitaji yetu, na sio kwa mbaya, ni vile iko hii mchanga tumeacha juu, kuna ingine iko na mchanga, yani kama iko na kingenyo, hii inaitwa kingenyo. Sasa hiyo wakati watu waliingia wakiwa wameserewa, juu waliingia saa 5 na hii maneno ikafanyika saa 6.
Tukitolewa hapa, kwa mfano sasa kumepata hii accident, tutaenda kufanya kazi wapi? Kitu tunaomba serikali tuangalie, tusifunge hapa.
Ndio hivi. Sasa wakati mafundi walikuwa wanatoa mawe kule juu kukaanguka. Sasa wakagongwa na 3 wakaaga.
Ile Quarry ya Kimuri mahali watu wanashimba mawe hii ya ujenzi na kupiga kokoto. Kuna watu ime collapse ikaanguka, watu 4 wakaangukiwa ndani. Tumeweza kutoa mtu mmoja tukampeleka hospitali Kibim Sub County Hospital.
An unfortunate story there. Now, the push to have Kenyans who were affected during the 1998 U.S. Embassy bombing in Nairobi continues, with the Senate ad hoc committee led by Senator Agnes Kavindu holding a public hearing for the statements of the victims. Speaking today at the August 7th Memorial Park, the committee says it will do its best to have victims compensated. Let's get more from Sheila Chelangat.
Emotions ran high at the August 7th Memorial Park. Families and victims of that dark day gathered to remember the day their lives literally came to a standstill.
My daughter's life has come to a standstill. He's there taking care of me.
By the time of the bomb blast, we were 47 members of staff in the building, and 40 of them died. They were all my colleagues, my friends. We were together that morning.
And as they tried to beat the trauma of what transpired on that day, they are in a fight to get included in the compensation fund by the United States for those affected in the blast.
And we can evidently see that even dreams of children who had not been born have been hindered or shattered because of the circumstances they found themselves, which was not of their own making.
The Senate ad hoc committee led by Senator Agnes Kavindu are now lobbying for the American Senate to actualize their law pursuant to the Justice for United States Victims of State-Sponsored Terrorism Acts.
Americans should just come out and be that, those good people who will take their responsibility and compensate Kenyans for what we suffered because of them. Because Al-Qaeda was not fighting Kenya.
This push to have victims compensated comes after Kenyans affected failed to be included in the fund that should bring settlement of the compensation.
I want to plead with the American government that this is a matter of goodwill and friendship of the two countries. It is not a matter to be proven beyond reasonable doubt or even a balance of a probability.
And even as the push continues, most here wish it would have come a little bit earlier to ease their burdens away.
The Kenya government, push the U.S. Congress waweze kutulipa ili niweze kueducate my daughter.
For now, they dance away their traumas from the last 25 years, waiting for the U.S. government to listen to their plight. After these hearings, this committee will table its report before the Senate on the 21st of September this year. And for the Kenyans whose lives changed on August 7th, they can only hope that they will be included in the compensation fund by the United States. Sheila Chelangat, TV47 at the Memorial Park in Nairobi.
Right, Sheila, thank you for that. Moving on, residents of Makuru, Kwanjenga are now asking the relevant authorities to help do away with criminal gangs disguised as youth groups and community-based organizations who have made their lives a living hell. They say the gangs harass them and demand for money, and nothing has been done to reprimand them, even though reports have been made to relevant authorities.
Facial marks showing just how ruthless a gang can be. Elijah Mutuku, a bodaboda rider, is among the latest victims of the brutality of a gang allegedly disguised as Wapewape youth group.
Sasa hapo akaanza kunichapa, akaniambia, "Mbona unaongea mbaya mara nini?" Akanichapa. Akatoa test, akanichapa nao kama ameshika na mkono.
Cleophas Sofuya, a hotelier, is also a victim, saying intimidation and harassment by the Seed gang almost led him out of business.
Sasa siku hii ambayo amekuja ni siku 3 zimepita, amekuja na vishindo.
Women have not been spared either, as Judith Wawire and Zainab Ngina narrate with sorrow and fear.
Vijana wanakuja wananiitisha hiyo pesa na hata sina, hata mimi mwenyewe hata huwezi jua kama utakula ama utakula. Kipanda yangu walinibebea ya kwanza wakaweka hapo Njenga, hapo kwa chief. Mtoto wangu hakufungua shule venye walipepa.
Lakini kuna watu wanatudhulumu. Wanakuja saa zingine wanatuambia tutoe 50 ya kutoa takataka na tuoni takataka yenye inatolewa.
All of them say they are perturbed by the way the gang is not touched despite the incessant reports made to the police.
Right, apologies for that slight technical hitch there. So we're taking a break, right, Nick? Yes. Right, we take our first commercial break here on TV47 Weekend Edition. Remember, like I said earlier on, we're having our new segment today. We're bringing it to you today. It's called Her Say, and our discussion today is on breastfeeding, this being World Breastfeeding Week from the 1st of August to the 7th of August. And my guests are already with me in studio. You see them there on your screens. Wangeshi Kehara, a lactation consultant and child nutritionist, as well as Chebet Berer, who is a mother and mental health advocate. One conversation you indubitably do not want to miss. So stay with me. We'll have it shortly. Let's take that break. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana. Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanje Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
Time Sports. My name is Dennis Otieno. Now let's start off with matters rugby. The National Rugby 7 circuit leaders Kabras Sugar Saturday evening secured a 24-12 win over Kisumu Rugby Football Club in the third Pool A match of the third leg of the circuit, the Prince Lu Sevens in Nakuru City. The victory saw the Sugar Millers qualifying into the knockout stages, where they will be joined by defending champions Menengai Oilers, KCB, Strathmore Leos and Kenya Harlequins, who topped their respective groups. Oilers, who finished second at the Driftwood Sevens in Mombasa, secured a hard-fought 5-0 victory over their city rivals Nakuru RFC before thrashing Catholic University Monks 24-7.
Meanwhile, bankers KCB faltered in their last Pool C match after losing 24-5 to Kenya Harlequins. And still on matters rugby, former Mwamba Rugby Football Club coach Kevin Wambua has been appointed as the new head coach of the National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa. This after an announcement was made by Kenya Rugby Union Chairman Alexander Sasha Mutai. Wambua will be deputized by Strathmore Leo's coach Louis Kisia, while Steve Sewe was appointed as Shujaa's team manager. Former Shujaa captain Andrew Amonde will be in charge of strength and conditioning, while Lamek Bongoko will be the team's physiotherapist. Speaking during the announcement of the appointments, KRU President Sasha Mutai expressed his the union's confidence over the tacticians whom they say have demonstrated exceptional dedication and skill in their respective fields, thus promising good results.
I'm going to give him as a Kenya Rugby Union together with main sponsor, SportPesa. We're going to give this team as much as we can right now. Government is also assisting a lot, but we have faith in this team. This team and some of the coaches on the circuit have been looking at the players in the past 2 tournaments, and including this coming weekend in Makuru, at the Prinsloo. So work has been going on in the background.
On the track to rebuild, and Shujaa, as our pride of Kenya, we are confident that for sure this team that we have chosen will be able to take us forward. And we just want to implore in everyone as Kenya.